One shot, one kill.
Fire one ready.
We're basically pinned down, and we're surrounded by snipers.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
totally.
no, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. That's good. You don't want to get something like that wrong.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always careful with our judgments on the Extinction Agenda.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think you probably shoot from the hip with your judgments.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
There's a nice transition in there, but I don't know whether or not we want to transition yet or just talk some more shit.
No, I'm comfortable transitioning.
You know who didn't shoot from the hip?
Vasily.
Jude Law.
Or that vicious crowd.
Welcome back, everyone. Extinction Agenda pinned down. We're taking a break from the Sniper franchise, but we're
not taking a break from sniping, though.
Exactly.
We've decided to review the finest sniper movie, Enemy at the Gates, 1996. Jude Law.
I thought it was 2001.
2001? What the fuck?
Yeah, 2001.
I'm going way too back. Was it 2001?
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm watching. Yeah, there you go.
Did you watch
the
Bob
movie?
Hoskins, Ed Harris, Jude Law.
Yeah. Written, directed, produced by Jean-Jacques Annaud, who, I don't know, looking at this guy's...
written, directed, and produced?
Yeah. This was a fucking vision from this guy, from the guy who brought you 7 Years in Tibet, and other shows.
Pass on that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's weird. Like none of his filmography. I don't want to like. I like this movie. I don't want to explore any other movie that this guy's ever done, because none of them look interesting. They look like children's programs to some extent, or they just follow animals around and stuff. He's got or he does like Japanese films, which fine. Japanese films are fine, but I guess he's also done some other war movies. But anyway. I like this movie. I'm not sure.
Real eccentric then.
Yeah, I think so. And music from the guy who did the music for Titanic, Avatar, Braveheart, and Wrath of Khan. And
interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't show on the film. I don't know if you guys like the musical score of this film is not one of the reasons I like it.
I already recited the musical score. No. Fucking over and over again.
Yeah. So I guess we went over the cast. Rachel Weisz, Joseph Fiennes. I always want to call him Ralph Fiennes, just because like that's the only Fiennes for me.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz, awesome. And Bob Hoskins is great. Ron Perlman had himself a little magic moment there.
Yeah.
I forgot about Perlman in this movie. That was such a nice surprise. I was just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and his grill.
Major Coing fucking pinned him to the wall there in midair.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's not a good way to go. But I mean, Kolikov, he had a rough life, with his teeth knocked out and whatnot. So, So I don't know what. I guess regular tradition. We'll kick it off to Adam. Adam, how did you? I don't think any of us had seen this movie in a long time. How did you feel about it coming back?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't know, it's maybe close to 20 years. I mean, I remember seeing when it came out and watched it a couple times, but definitely like stood up the test of time. Like I stood to the test of time. Like 20 years on, it still looked good. I thought it was really entertaining. Maybe that was just like compared to a lot of the other movies we've been watching lately and bad sniper movies, but I thought like the scenery that this movie brought, like the cinematography was really great. It really made Stalingrad just look like fucking hell, which I'm sure it was. And it was. I thought that like there was a lot of scenes that sort of built suspense. That soundtrack, that like kind of got annoying towards the end, but at the start of the movie or for the first bit, I thought it was kind of effective to sort of build on everything. I thought there's some great suspenseful scenes in there. I mean, like having a sniper scene in an abandoned factory full of mannequins, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just well done. Like someone knew what they were doing with this. Not overly gory, which was fine with me. Even like
that's an interesting opinion. Go on.
Well, I
Go
mean,
on
like
with
I've
that.
seen worse. I've seen worse gore in movies
Yeah, that's
before
true.
this
Yeah.
came out and
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
You know, like we weren't looking at like the tides of Omaha with this thing and just like an ocean full of blood and guts hanging out everywhere. I mean, there was some gore, but wasn't too bad. I
You know, the Parents Guide rates that as severe violence and gore.
I mean,
Oh.
that's a parent's guide. I mean, I wouldn't want to show this to my children.
I don't know.
but, you know.
To the point of like when they're crossing the Volga, like right at the beginning, and like Vasily's just shuffled onto a boat and they're going across the river. There's fucking severed dead bodies and fucking human bits all in the water. So I don't know. I think
it's floating, and I mean like literally and figuratively disconnected. Like
yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like I
Yeah,
think
no,
about
it's
the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. And
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
That is sort of the bad analogy again, high watermark of of gore. And I think about one part where mortar goes off and the guy is like picking up his arm and like running up the beach and his guts are hanging out.
Yeah.
We don't see
Yeah.
that, but we don't need that in this movie. I think it
Yeah.
tells a good story. I thought Ed Harris's character was just phenomenal. Like I forgot how much I liked him in this movie, and I thought he was a bad guy that I actually really enjoyed a lot. He was maybe my favorite character in the movie. So yeah, I thought this was a really entertaining movie, well worth the whatever it was, 2 hours and I think 11 minutes or something like that. Yeah, I was very happy with it, very entertained, disturbed by some parts, but like really entertained.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I come down similarly, James.
Yeah, I really liked Ed Harris. I actually forgot he was in the movie, and I was kind of shocked to see him. And then his bad guyness sort of was like a slow burn,
Yeah.
You weren't sure what he was all about. People were like, "Oh, I didn't." Right away, that other Nazi officer was like, "I didn't expect someone with your prestige," So he was their heavy hitter. And then I like the playoff between the kid and Vasily and the major, where like everybody, like you got the impression that the major knew he was getting misinformation, but he was kind of like playing a game with the kid to get like a lay of the land. Like I didn't have any feeling that the major like 100% trusted that kid's like advice every time.
That's interesting, and like I don't know, and I feel similarly to you, but I think the evidence of the movie is contrary to our feelings.
Yeah, I agree. I know what you mean. Like the movie made it seem like the moment where he caught him and hung him was the moment where he felt like he caught the betrayal or whatever. But I mean, it did feel like he was toying with everybody, and that was the villain moment. Like that's when, like, because you weren't sure, you were like, oh, it's one side fighting another side. Yes, the Nazis are bad inherently, but I mean, this wasn't a horrible character at that point. And then when he, when you become a child killer, you become easy to dispose of after that.
Yeah, I think
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna because I agree with you. Up until that point, he's not really monstrous. He's scary. He's like a ghost. But you do get a sense of his monstrousness when the very first time you see him, he's on that train. He's reading the book.
Yeah.
He looks over at the other car, and it's just all German soldiers, all like wounded and fucked up. And he doesn't feel anything, and he just like shuts them out, and then gets back to reading. So you do it, like to that extent, you're like, okay, that's this guy. This guy's cold. He doesn't care about death. He doesn't care about war. Anyway, yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think he does care about war. And so I'd actually made a note that I thought he was a really good and almost likable bad guy. And I was writing this down as he's bringing Sasha up to the whatever power line pole to be hung.
Right.
And then I was like, oh shit, like I kind of stopped writing my note about like this guy's such a good bad guy. But then like, what he's saying to Sasha as he's bringing him to his death is kind of interesting, which is like, we're both soldiers and you've done a good job, but you know, we're just on the opposing camps. And it's basically like, you've lost,
he did. He said,
won, and
he told him. Goes. Yeah, and he told him too, I'm angry with you. I asked you to stay home. I asked you to not come out here. You told me, or you gave me whatever bad information, you know, I'm not angry with you for, you know, you're Russian for standing up for your people, but yeah, I'm angry with you for forcing me to do what I have to do or whatever. Right.
Yeah. And there's also the scene too, before he's sort of having what we thought was going to be the final face off with Vasily, where he takes off that one sort of medal and puts on the other medal, which we learned later was his son's. And it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of like, I don't know, honor or something. I don't know what the right word is, but there's something to the character that I think is more than just the bad guy. Like there's something there that was very likable to me. He just happened to be on the other side.
Yeah, and I take that. I take it back. You're right. He doesn't not care about war. It's probably exactly the opposite. You know, he doesn't necessarily live for it, but he does have this. I think it's because he has that perfect blend of primitiveness and urbanity. In this, you know, like he's the hunter, you know, and he's the great hunter. And he lays the traps and he uses the terrain and all that stuff. But you also, you know, but he's like, when you first meet him, he's reading that huge book and he operates on some sort of aristocratic honor. You know, he's something more of like 18th, 17th century, something like that. Maybe an idealized version of what an aristocrat is in that era. You know, a man who can plot a graph and build a fortress and write a sonnet just as well as he can snipe a Russian. And maybe that's more what he is.
It's funny that he delivered that much like depth with like very few lines. Also,
that's true.
Yeah,
you guys were wowed by this character, and he barely spoke.
Yeah, but but that's it. Like when he did speak, or whenever he was presented in situations, like, it was just everything that you needed to know about the guy. And actually, I think if you learned anything more, it would be a problem. Like if you learned he hit his wife once, the illusion's ruined, right?
Yeah.
It's not funny to laugh at that, but
no, it's fine. But it's true.
Yeah, it shatters the character. It's like, I thought one of the great things about his character was that, like you said, like James, it was like there's so few lines, and he's just very almost stoic in every scene. And
I was gonna say stoic,
and it's like his facial expression can just portray so much. Just this like the slight smile that he has that's kind of warming but also kind of condescending and asshole-ish at the same time. It's just like it's so good. Like it just, I don't know, like I don't want to say he's a great actor, but maybe he's a great actor. And I was really like
Ed Harris
sort of
Ed Harris is an established great actor though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah. Hey,
I've seen him in a few things now, and now I'm starting.
You're on the Ed Harris. You got to get on the Ed Harris train here, Adam. He's a gem, man.
Yeah. Ed Harris is great as an actor. But that said, can't say I've seen a lot of Ed Harris movies. Like if I think, you know, like History of Violence, he was great in that. And I'm just, like, I've never seen Pollock. I've never seen any of his like I'm gonna be an actor movies. Anyway, yeah, but he was great in this. We can say that.
He had some great stuff in this new Westworld thing on HBO too. He was very enjoyable. I only saw a couple episodes of it, but
yeah.
I was always pleased to see him grace the screen. But also, little detail. Don't know if anyone was going to bring this up. I really appreciate when you do a movie, if you don't ask your guys to fake accents.
Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought this up because it'll segue to another thing. Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody can fake an accent well. I'll defer to the Avengers if you want to do Wanda and Pietro Maximoff with the shittiest Russian accents that they struggled to maintain with all the fucking power in their being. I hate it. It's not necessary. No one gives a fuck. Only North American people are watching these fucking movies most of the time, and if they're not, then they're watching them with subtitles or dubbed anyway. So like there's no reason to put the fucking accent put-ons, especially if it's gonna throw your actors off. You want your people to deliver a performance. If the guy's English, just let him fucking speak. I get it, you're telling a Russian story. I don't need my fucking handheld. You don't have to go, it's me, Vasily. Fuck, that's not necessary. Well done. Appreciate that. That's all. Yeah.
So, okay. So the counter to that is like, is Ron Perlman English? I thought the same thing. Yeah, and like, I'm not sure if Jude Law is English either. Yeah, like I don't think
Jude
no
Law
one's
is English. Yeah.
Is he okay? Yeah. Either way, and Bob Hoskins is obviously English, but even then, I still think it's significant that they're all speaking with English accents, and they're not like very obvious English accents. And I wanted to talk about the double nature of this movie, because on the one hand, it's a movie about propaganda, right? And on the other hand, it's a propagandistic movie. The Russian soldiers are, you're right. They don't speak with a Russian accent, but they all speak with English accents, and they're all hideous. They're all fucking disgusting looking troglodytes, except for our heroes, except for the main characters.
Shit, Ron Perlman was born in Manhattan.
Oh yeah, there we go. And so it's an obvious choice, and so like I think to the beginning of the movie, it opens up with their classic 1940s newsreel animation of the Axis powers flowing down towards Stalingrad. It opens up with a very obvious nod to propaganda film, and then it depicts the Russians as monstrous. Like Vasily Zaitsev in real life he volunteered. He was an accountant prior to in the Navy, and he begged to fight. And he didn't end up in a cattle car with the doors locked and then sent into a meat grinder. Lots of people were defending their homes in this, so they like this movie. It misrepresents the Russians at the same time as it talks about what it means to misrepresent the Russians. It's a very interesting choice. I don't know. I don't know why. I just think it's worth noting.
The other thing I found very weird about this movie was that like it doesn't have the normal chain of command with like a normal like war movie, right? Like I never quite understood who Vasily's superior officer was, but it seems like it was Joseph Fiennes, who's a fucking author, telling him what to do. Like there's no like commanding officer. Like I don't want to compare it to sniper movies, like the sniper movies with Tom Berenger, but like at least in those movies, you're like, that this guy has his orders from someone in Washington or someone. With this one, it's just like it just seemed like wake up, like, hey Vasily, wake up, we gotta go, and it's just sort of like, what do you mean we gotta go? Like this seems like an ad hoc battle. Like no wonder you lost a lot of people, and I'm surprised you won at the end of the thing, because this is just a completely decentralized military system, and that is not a good recipe for victory. Like I don't know, it seemed weird that like that part was missing from the movie for me. Not that
and then they did the best friend betrayal by having him by the end Commissar there is given the orders to like have Vasily go out on front lines. Like wait a sec, like bro, you write the newspaper. Like when did you dictate when the snipers are showing up to certain areas?
I think
that's a fair plot hole. Like that's a pretty big one. You're right.
I think they get around that though. They hand wave it by Danilov. He's talking with Bob Hoskins with Khrushchev. Incidentally, historical fact. Khrushchev did not lead the assault on Stalingrad, and there were other generals who actually did the whole thing. He sort of consulted and came up with ideas that others had already started implementing. But nonetheless, he was at Stalingrad, and he did play a part. But anyway, this movie misrepresents that as well. But they point, he's just like, your fates are intertwined, and it gives the impression that Danilov has some sort of authority over Vasilyev, even though it makes no sense because, Adam, you're right. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, we have to go. And where are those orders coming from? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, that's fair. And the other thing too is that, you mentioned this like being like a big Captain America story, sort of.
Yes. Yeah.
That this was like a big hero that was propped up, but I just found the like whole like brotherhood and betrayal thing. Also, I don't know if you were going to bring this up, but the fact that almost as soon as Rachel Weisz discovers that Danilov there is a Jew, that he immediately turns into like a turncoat villain.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
That was a bit grimy. I was like,
yeah. No, she really gets a #MeToo kind of experience in this movie. Like he's promoting her, but then he's also like sitting too close to her. Like and I guess this gets back to my contention that this movie's sort of propagandistic and misrepresents the Russians as well, in some sense, because like Danilov, he's a true believer, like he believes in his propaganda, and for him to become rotten, just because he just wants to get some of that, some of that. And it becomes a criticism, and it's explicit criticism at the end, where Danilov's like, I thought we could create a new man, but no, man's all, and it's just like, man's always gonna fight over pussy, and you're just that
speech at the end was so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was a touching moment for me.
Rich in love, poor in love. We're always
rich in love, poor in love. That was beauty. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm gonna do one last good thing. I'm gonna show you where the major is. Bam, headshot.
So on that scene, I was thinking about this today. I thought it was really interesting that like the ultimate, like the culmination of the whole movie, the pinnacle of the movie results in Vasily not really sniping Ed Harris, but just sort of standing between two trains like he's shooting a fucking deer.
I think of the whole, he duped the shit out of him.
Oh, he totally duped the shit out of him, but it was just kind of like not expected for a movie that's so about the sniper battle that he's just going to catch Ed Harris with his pants down in a rail yard, and Vasily standing between two trains, standing with his rifle just aimed at him.
Yeah, he just wanted to catch him with his dick in his hands, like it was put the real stamp on it,
Yeah,
I saw in that moment, it felt like a Western, like the wind blowing through Vasily's cape and stuff, and it was just
took
like
his hat off,
yeah,
looked him in the eyes.
Yeah. So the movie couldn't. At the end of the day, they were too fucking chicken shit to have a sniper ending. It had to be the big Western, because a Western's up in close gunfighting, and people understand that. And I think this movie chicken shitted. It could have just been brains blown out at 500 yards. But
I liked it because I liked that there was zero hesitation.
That's fair.
And so it had its gunshot moment, boom, with their sniper rifle, and there's just he didn't flinch, like he didn't budge, he just blew his head off.
Yeah.
They didn't talk or anything.
After Sasha got fridged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of liked it too. Like, I mean,
no, she didn't. She woke up in the hospital. That's all.
No. The little boy. The little boy.
Oh yeah, he got it. Yeah.
I kind of liked how that wrapped up, because I didn't remember how it ended. Like, I remember that Vasily kills him, but I didn't remember how it ended. I don't know. It was unexpected and a nice surprise. It was not the normal I was expecting it to be like the Tom Berenger kind of sniper thing where it's like, oh, gotcha, and then he gets him. But this was kind of different. I mean, unexpected but pleasantly surprised, I think, at the same time.
Yeah, it's appropriate for this. Okay, I say they're chicken shit. Fine, that's just one man's opinion. But maybe it's inappropriate for a movie this big. Like when you open up on that scene of Stalingrad as a burned out smoking wreck, and getting back to right to the beginning of the movie, it's you're entering in, like, this movie's great at selling that you're in a war.
It is,
for whatever its misrepresentations of how the war went. It's so like I think it would have to be a Western. It has to be a Western at the end, because
it's a showdown, right?
Yeah.
It was a versus match. Hey, for a little tidbit of misrepresentation, the Russians having those kind of like turn back guys, like guys that made it so that you wouldn't turn back from the fight.
Oh yeah, the Order 227 fellas, yeah.
Yeah. Shoot the blockade guys, like shooting their own men if they turned around. Historically speaking, apparently no record of that at all. You were actually arrested if you turned around. They historically arrested Russian soldiers if you turned around from battle or from the front line, and then some people were executed, but apparently it was around 1.5%, like not fairly low numbers. Really, most of them were just charged.
Yeah, I spent a little time looking at Stalingrad, and that's. I'm getting some scuttlebutt on that. I
mean, like, not that I trust the Russians. I mean, they fudge everything, so I'm sure they just shot everybody. But fuck.
No. I think what you're saying is true. I just don't know. Like I'm some of the sources I've read was like that it was true, and then I'm reading other ones that say what you're saying, and I'm inclined to believe what you're saying, because this movie wants to posit that the only reasons the Russians fought is because even though they're a bunch of cowards, at least they had guns at their back, and so they rushed into danger, and they fought because they had no choice. And that's true, but you don't need Stalin behind you for that. You've got the German army coming to basically take over your entire way of life. I think if the German army attacked Toronto, I might fight. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but.
I'm inclined to believe that it's somewhere in the middle on account of how greasy the Russians are. That this has likely been fiercely rewritten by whoever handles that for them. So it's probably somewhere in between. They probably, shot some people and didn't shoot others, and so on and so forth. From the people that brought you town square executions, hard to believe that wasn't a good order, but.
There was executions, like you're right, they did arrest people and they did shoot them, and people, actually some of them they didn't shoot would be sent out to deal with mines, and they all
rough gig.
So don't be a coward in Stalin's army, but I did but let's talk about where they did get some shit right. And Adam, you already brought this up, that when Koenig is in the department store, and that's the sort of shit that Stalingrad was like. It was and you said this in our private conversations, like it was street to street, room to room, level to level, like it was a dirty fucking war. That's a cool place to do it, though. Koenig ends up, like he's like something that's haunting the department store, and that's really cool. That's a nice touch, and it has the stink of truth.
Yeah, absolutely does. I thought one of the great things about this movie was, I think, like the imagery that it presented about Stalingrad and just how brutal it probably was. And I mean, I looked up just some pictures today of Stalingrad to see what it was like during and after the battle, and it seemed like very accurate of what it was. Just decimated. I also thought one of the cool scenes was earlier on when they were first hunting Koenig, and Vasily still had his two friends with him who seemed to be a couple. And the German, the Luftwaffe is coming and bombing, and it's just like this slow, just like boom, 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 and these planes are just coming slowly. I thought that was like a really, for some reason, just like a haunting scene. And the fear of the female sniper that's with Vasily, when he was like, just stay here, and she's trying to like manage her anxiety, and then she's like, fuck it, I'm going, and then just runs and then just gets one in the head from Koenig. But I thought the movie did a really good job of just sort of giving the viewer an impression of just absolute hell, like a city in hell.
Yeah, that's interesting about Koenig. Like hearing you say that, and maybe I thought about it at the time, like. Not only was Vasiliev cool under that scene, but so was Koenig, and Vasiliev knew that Koenig was cool in that, like he was like, he's not going to be worried about the airplane. He's not going to be worried about the bombs. He's going to shoot you if you move. Like death from him is more certain than death from that bomb. Yeah. So stay put.
Yeah.
And I that adds to the mystique of Koenig as a villain. And one of the reasons we think so highly of him as a villain is because like he had, he was death, high probability of death guy,
Yeah.
Well, Vasily established that like right away too. He came back from having all of his guys cut down on his cute little crew there. Yeah. And he was like, this guy's the best. He's far better than me. He's positionally better. He's killing us. I can't beat him. You got to stop the propaganda train. Yeah. He made impossible shots. He was just they couldn't figure it out. And he was just dead, like Adam said, stoic. Like he came back and he was not rattled by any of his outings. It was just basically like laying groundwork for him. Like he was in fucking machine mode like the whole time. Like Vasily got lucky basically.
And they did a good job of portraying Vasily as being really rattled too, right? So after Perlman gets shot and Vasily just sort of slumps against that wall and he's shaking and he takes out that torn page to roll up his tobacco and his cigarette, and he can't. He's just like violently shaking and he just sort of gives up and just sits there and shakes. I thought that was kind of a cool scene too.
Yeah, because what is a sniper if not someone who can keep cool? Exactly. If you're not a stone, then.
And he was cool up until that point, right? Like he was sort of rattled a little bit, being like, oh, I can't get this guy. But it was like that point he realized that when Koenig made that shot, I think it was very clear to him that this is not going to be easy and might not end well at all.
Yeah.
He was just sort of outclassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Koenig, go on.
Sorry. That's okay. Oh. No, I want to hear the Koenig thing.
Oh, I was like, he's stoic, and I want to get back to his little chats with Sasha. When he picks up, he'll take out the meat and the chocolate, and he's got that smile on his face, and he just understands that it's like an economic transaction. He's just paying for intelligence, but he's still friendly. And I think maybe that's part of it too. Like his interactions with Sasha are very caring to some extent, but also economic. This sounds really weird because I'm talking about a child, but it's kind of like the relationship between someone who like paying for a sex worker. You can have that I'm in controlness. And I'm going to get what I want from this interaction, but I'm also going to enjoy like the pleasantries of the conversation.
Yeah, I totally see that.
And the thing is like, and he even asks him at one point, like, why are you helping the Germans? And he says, well, the Germans are stronger, so they're going to win the war. I mean, like, that's a logical thing to think and feel at that time. Just based on their based on their success in rolling through the region, right?
You're rolling around in empty cans there, Adam?
I dropped a can.
It sounds like you're in a
lunch bag letdown.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a fucking junkyard.
Jesus, it was one can. I'm sorry.
So, anybody else get caught off guard by an unusually long, weird sex scene in between a couple of old?
Oh yeah,
there we go.
Tuberculosis-riddled Russians. No.
That's yeah, man. That's how you do a sex scene in one of these sniper movies. I'm just gonna say. That
was premier sniper sex. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I think like as far as I think this movie has a really interesting it's about at the same time like one of its themes is sort of the relationship or something about the closeness of sex and death. Because like getting back to what Adam said, there's Vasily's partners. They have a moment together and all of a sudden like they're left alone. And they just start making out, and they probably fucked in that hallway just because they've been waiting amongst all this chaos and amongst all this madness just to have a human interaction with each other. And even it shows like it shows them partying or whatever, and that one guy's farting out a candle, and they're smoking, they're dancing, and they're fucking, and yeah, she and it kind of partakes in that joyousness of life, amongst all the death. I just thought it was really appropriate. And it was also kind of hot because Rachel Weisz is super fucking hot.
Yeah, it was shocking. It was shocking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. IMDb fact. The hand that went into Jude Law's pants had
oh god
nail polish, and so and someone went out of their way to write. Was it
not Rachel Weisz's hand?
Apparently not.
I don't know if that's awesome or disappointing.
I think it's. I'm a little disappointed, but yeah.
Well, I'd like to think it was like a set extra, like the sound guy. Had great hands.
My ticket wasn't Jude Law. It was probably Jude Law's body double who painted his fingernails and gave himself a little J.O. So.
Whoa!
Yikes!
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to film, like to get that angle and make it look like your hand is someone else's hand. What
do they call that? What are the fluffer, right?
Oh, he fluffed himself.
That's right.
Rachel Weisz is too fucking fancy to be involved in that kind of garbage. You get the fluffer in.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, she's so fancy, man.
Bring on the
ass in that sex.
Get the fluffer in the dog.
Get the fluffer with the black hands.
That's respectable.
Yeah. Close your eyes, Jude. He's going in.
Jesus.
What did you say, Morello?
I said that's a classy woman. Like she just showed her ass in that sex scene, which I was actually interested to hear your take on that, Levite, because last time you had a sex scene in war movie, you're like, there are no tits. You were very upset.
Yeah, I know, and I did no research to find out if that was actually her ass.
Oh, it must have been. It must have been.
If there was an ass double, I want to believe it too, but
no, go back to the scene unless they put a prosthetic ass on her or something. It's yeah.
You didn't get a quick cut on that? The hand though. So. The hand was a close up. So you can those could be anybody's hands, but that's her ass.
It's the guy lying next to Jude Law. I don't know. That's the way it went in Stalingrad.
It looked like Jude Law's midriff, though. I'm gonna give it the go on that. I'm gonna say Jude Law manned up, and he's like, no matter whose hand's going in my pants, I'm gonna stand in for this scene.
That's what Stalin would have wanted.
That's a real act.
That's what Bob Hoskins would have wanted.
Oh, shit. I'm glad no one chose to glaze over that. I did hear and read another thing that people were sad about, a trivia moment.
Okay.
Apparently, if you got hit in the hand by whatever that fucking Russian rifle was, your hand would have just exploded.
Oh,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, apparently
the rifle is absolutely gnarly.
And I wanted to comment on that earlier. Yeah, because when Koenig walks down the stairs and he's just got like a bandage on his hand and he's just a minor setback. Yeah, no, you got fucking sniped in the hand. It's not like you got hit with a laser.
Yeah, it also looked like it was like the knuckle too. So I mean, even just like the BB that penetrates the skin in your knuckle, that's gonna hurt. But that's kind of
hurt. It could have cut your tendons.
Yeah, no, it looks like he got shot with like a tiny bullet, like the size of like a quarter of a penny, which is clearly not the case. Like this is a sniper rifle, and at close range, that hand should have been mangled.
Yeah, but yeah, it's fine. Movie magic, Jim. Yeah. That would have been a different movie.
I can't even get Rachel McAdams' real hand, or not Rachel McAdams. Rachel Weisz.
I mean, that would have been better.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you're a Rachel McAdams man, are you?
I mean,
no. You know what? There's a movie. I'm checking out. You know what happened there? Is hang on. Rachel Weisz actually was in a movie in 2017 with Rachel McAdams, I believe.
Oh, Disobedience. Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like they may be making out. And unbeknownst to me, while I was trying to do some proper sniper reconnaissance for this movie, I became very interested in that
Jesus Christ.
Photograph. I don't know. I'm only human here, guys.
Yeah, no, that's fair, man. That movie's like maximum hotness. And it's just it's about these Orthodox Jewish wives who or like this wife who has like this girlfriend, and then the husband's like, stay away from her. Yeah. So it's got all sorts of weird taboo shit going on too.
Sorry, what's it called?
I'm glad that you Disobedience. Let me grab my pencil.
Yeah. I never brought myself to watch it, but I like when it came on the screen, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. No. What are you guys doing?
Cigarette.
Yeah.
All right. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Pour another scotch.
Yeah. So I don't know what else we got here. What else? I would hate for that to be the last thing we have to say about Sniper.
You know what? Okay, first of all, this baby needed a half-hour cutoff. I know there was a lot of dramatic tension building. Fuck. We went from scene to scene, from thing to thing, but I actually didn't feel like there were enough serious writing points and plot points for the movie to carry on at that length.
I think it's true because it's trying to be it's like the love story to this movie is completely superfluous. Unless we get back to my central thesis that this is something like this movie has elements of it's trying to be propagandistic at the same time that it wants to talk about propaganda, because like you don't need a love story in this. Like this movie's probably better when it's not a love story. Sex scene aside, the love story doesn't really bring anything to it. And you just want to see Vasily out there fucking like trying to solve problems. Like
I don't know, that the love story gave the layers, though. It gave the friendship, betrayal, Yeah,
but how much have we talked about the friendship betrayal in this conversation? Like it's clearly the least interesting part. It is
the least interesting part, but I mean, like it's like a degrading situation that adds tension to the sniper fight. I mean, or else it's basically just Tom Berenger out in the woods by himself, sexless, friendless, shooting other guys.
You just don't need a love triangle. You don't need a love triangle though. Like you could have easily had him like he could have easily fallen in love with Tanya and had sex and saw her on the train early on and that sort of thing. And there's lots of ways they could have done it, but they didn't need a love triangle. Like I think that I'd cut a lot of that. If I was looking for something to cut, I'd cut that. Everything else can stay.
I think he was. I don't know. I think it was it had something to do with his agenda there against the Jewish people.
What? Whose agenda?
The director. I don't think he liked Nazis, Russians, or Jews.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, equal opportunity. That's I don't know about the last part. It never occurred to me.
The only betrayer in the whole movie, like basically he was a villain himself.
Yeah, that's true. But Rachel Weisz is like, if he was also the only Jew, I guess I'd be more inclined. But Rachel Weisz is also Jewish and is constantly portrayed in a positive light. You know,
It's true. She was the crown prince of the show.
That's an interesting idea, though. Yeah.
What was the point of having these two characters as Jewish? Because it never went anywhere.
No.
It just it came up in a conversation, like very briefly, and then just kind of went away. So it was kind of a weird sort of like, let's toss this into the storyline.
It does motivate Tanya a little bit because, you know, she gets that signal intercept. And she learns about like how her parents were fucking brutally murdered.
Right.
And, you know, because of their Jewishness. And so I guess it's useful for her. But with Ralph Fiennes, or Joseph Fiennes, sorry, they're doing it again. It doesn't. And this adds to James's idea, actually. I think it's a really interesting idea and it probably has legs. There's no point to, does there need to be a point to Jewishness? I don't know,
there
but it has
seemed to be like a portrayal that they were like smarmy, educated, privileged, you know, not down to earth.
Sunken eye, eyeshadow.
Yep.
Highly effeminate.
Yep. Stab your friend in the back.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think some of that's there. I'm not sure what the
end game was for it, or if it was just like an undertone, or if it was just like a character thing that they chose to do. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I think it's an idea. But I guess the movie is fundamentally anti-German though. And I think it doesn't, you know, like I already said.
You don't make a Nazi movie in the last, like, whatever.
You can't be pro-German. Can't be
pro-Nazis.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're making a Nazi movie, you're making a Nazi movie about how fucking evil the Nazis were.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of it, too. And maybe it, because you want to emphasize the absolute villainousness of, because the Russians aren't portrayed extremely well, so you have to make the Germans monsters. You have to remind the audience of their monstrousness, and maybe making two characters Jews is helpful for that. Just a little reminder, you know.
I can see that, because I mean, like, nobody likes the Russians either.
Yeah,
they're not nice. But I mean, like, they were at least fighting for their homeland.
At least. Yeah. I liked this movie. At the end of the day, even though I would say that I think I would agree that it's a little long.
It was long, and I know there's like a little wheelbarrow full of like plot holes and weird directional choices and things like that. But I mean, like, overall, like, absolutely fantastic. It's easily the best sniper movie I've watched thus far in our sniper adventures. I don't know, maybe Bradley Cooper will surprise me, but we'll see.
I like every time that you had that it's the best. And also it's the best sniper movie that we've watched so far. You know, like, that's such a backhanded that's such a low bar.
This is a fucking meh. Jude Law is a meh, and I'm willing to believe that there's better out there. I don't want to give this baby the high hog, you know.
Okay, well, I think you should. I'm just saying that it, like, you always give it this qualification that maybe it's just a good sniper film. It's probably very good.
Listen, I just want to have one foot out the door on this. That's all.
You just don't want to. I don't want to be pinned down. I don't want any of these. I don't want anyone to hold my opinions against me.
Saying it like that's funnier. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do we have anything else at this point? Do we want to? Now, I was gonna say, should we go to like exterior reviews? But that's probably not helpful. That's only good when the movie's terrible.
They're gonna be high. This is gonna be this is gonna have high reviews.
I thought it was pretty bad. I thought there were.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it like 54 or something like that.
What? That's unreasonably low.
Yeah, people, reviewers, this was not a well-reviewed movie when it came out. Roger Ebert...
Tell them to watch the Sniper movies and they'll be fine.
Yeah. Don't you fucking know?
You know what? IMDb's giving it 7.6 out of 10 on 250,000 reviews.
Oh my goodness.
That seems
okay,
pretty consistent and
yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
Fair. Yeah.
Entertaining
That's fair.
disinformation is one of the... Like, or you need a fucking crybaby Russian. That's all that is.
Oh,
gross misrepresentation of the historical facts. Okay, there, Vladdy.
I've been saying that this whole thing. I don't think that, but did they at least give it a good review? No,
they one started crying about the historical facts.
Oh, that's bullshit. That's a stupid reason not to like a war movie. That's such a nerd reason not to like a war movie.
It's been a nerd reason to not like a war movie. That's just like why you like, if you're looking for historical facts, don't look to Hollywood.
Don't watch a fucking movie. Watch a documentary.
Yeah, you can start with not watching any fucking movies if you want to know. Yeah. That would help.
Yep.
Go on Wikipedia. I don't care, but just don't watch a movie.
Yeah.
True. The hard truth's coming in here.
Yeah.
This is that's not that bad of a movie though to be, but it's also not that good of a movie. It's hard to say.
No, it's
how many what do you give it out of like 10 dead krauts?
Out of 10 dead krauts, I'm going to give it. I think the average of 7.5 is good. I wouldn't give it an 8. So 7.5, I think I fall in the statistical average on this one. 7.5 dead krauts.
I'm pretty comfortable with a 7 myself. How about Adam, the big tiebreaker?
I hate to not break the tie, but I was going to come in at 7.5 as well. So
okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Pretty fair.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's it's a great movie. It has kind of a pointless love triangle that is also fine, as far as a love story goes. I think the movie's just
Wait, hold on that love triangle. The one thing that really pissed me off about this movie was that she lived at the end. I wanted to see everyone that was around him, because that's, I think, how that battle would have played out. There's a bunch of people left alone at the end of this thing, and it's like, I've lost everyone around me. And he did, except for Rachel Weisz. And she should have died, and he should have been left alone, and that would have been a better ending to me.
Well, the real life story actually is good too, and probably would have been better in apparently, she did live, but he didn't know. They did have some sort of relationship or something. And she didn't learn that he was still alive about him until later, when some reporter came up to ask her about him. And I don't know, but that's not what this movie is. It's high drama and high, but yeah, there should have been more sadness at the end. Jude, Vasily should not have reunited with his love. I agree. Yeah. I think that would have been, but.
You guys would have liked an ice cold shrapnel death, and perhaps maybe Vasily just standing on the catwalk of some shitty factory somewhere. The tear falling down his face. For the ending of all endings.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think she should have died, but I do think he should have been alone at the end. Okay, and I'm gonna give an in-movie reason for this. So remember Sasha's mom. She's she's been told that little Sasha actually defected to the Germans, and so she can believe that little Sasha's still alive. And they make a point of so she drops off Rachel Weisz at the dock, and she runs back and she posts a little piece of paper to her son, I'm still alive, I'm on the other side. And that could have been like, that's what the loss of, like Vasiliev should have had that post should have played more of a role later on in the movie, maybe at the final ending, so you've got that sense like, I'm still alive, I'm on the other side, but like, how are you going to find me? I don't know, something they could have done something, but otherwise it was just kind of a pointless little like, oh, by the way, this, here's a historical fact. People left notes, which is interesting, but it doesn't do anything for the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen this ass?
What? That's
Poor
a note.
Vasily, never to find her again.
Just some shitty pencil drawing. Yeah.
It's always fun to get behind the guns and send some rounds down range.